Hi witches! So today we are going to discuss the Wheel of the Year. The Wheel of the Year is a series of 8 holidays that are practiced by Wiccans and pagans around the world. There are witches, of course, who are secular, who practice an Abrahamic faith, Thelemic, and any other really type of religious path. And there are other holidays that they celebrate as well, or instead of. And I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But for today, we're going to talk about the main 8 holidays, and these are 8 holidays I observe as well. As each holiday comes up, I'm going to do a specific video related to that, like, day, that holiday, including some correspondences and ways that you can celebrate that through ritual work or decoration, etc. So today I'm going to kind of give you an overview from a non-religious, in that like I'm not a Wiccan, witch kind of point of view. But if you follow a path like Wicca or something, I suggest you look a little bit deeper into how they practice their specific holiday rituals for each holiday. Okay, so sorry, the cat just walked in. Hi, buddy. All right, everybody, say hi to Jack. He does not like being held, so I'm gonna have to put him down, but all right, sorry. Sometimes he really likes to be in here when I'm in here. I think he's just curious, or he could be a familiar. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we're gonna figure that one out this year, hopefully. But anyways, coming back to the topic at hand, the 8 major holidays celebrated by witches or Wiccans in order are Samhain, Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Litha, Lughnasa, and Mabon. So witches kind of observe a unique timeline of the year, I guess. And we start our new year on October 31st, also known as Samhain, also more popularly known as Halloween. So yes, we are a little bit stereotypical in that spooky aspect, but it's fun, okay? So Samhain is the biggest festival of the year, and it's held on October 31st, also known as Halloween, and it celebrates the time when the veil is at its thinnest. So witches really use this time to honor people who have died over the past year, or to honor their ancestors, or to kind of commune with the other side. Some witches hold a dumb supper, which is basically like a dinner that is eaten in silence, where plates are left out for the dead, and obviously not eaten by living people. And Samhain is really a great time for divination, for goal setting, and for celebrating kind of the last harvest of the year. So there's 3 harvest seasons, starting with Lughnasa, and it's Lughnasa, Mabon, and then the final one is Samhain. So we'll get through those towards the end of this video, I promise. So the next one after Samhain is Yule, which is essentially like witch Christmas. Though this holiday is based on a far older tradition that is celebrating the winter solstice. So Yule is when we really recognize that this is the darkest point of the year. It's the shortest day of the year. It's the longest night, basically. And from here, the sun is returning and life is coming back, and the circle is kind of starting its thing again. Traditionally, witches will burn a Yule log, which is either a actual log, which is like an actual log on a bonfire. Some witches just burn candles. I make a cake, like a Yule cake, which is a very traditional European thing, which is basically, it's like a, I don't know, like a roll cake, and it's really good. It's chocolate, fantastic. Well, I'll burn candles on that to signify Yule logs. I live in an apartment, and I feel like my landlord would frown upon me having a bonfire in the parking lot. But anyways, Yule is kind of just like that reminder that, the sun is returning, and that, it's just a time to kind of band together as a community, to help each other, to give gifts and stuff like that. So I did a really fantastic holiday card exchange with my witch group, which was super fun, and I love all the little letters and stuff. It makes me super happy. Some people went super all out, and I was like, oh my gosh. But it was a really great time. So if you kind of have a coven, or if you're kind of getting a group of witchy people together, Yule is a great time for witch gift giving, and I will talk about that more as we get into December of 2021 in 11 months. So the next holiday, and this one is actually coming up, is Imbolc, which is a smaller holiday celebrated on February 1st or 2nd. And it's going to be the first holiday I really talk about like in depth on this channel. I'm really stoked to like talk to you guys about Imbolc because it used to be like my least favorite holiday. Like it would always catch me off guard and I would be like, oh shit, and then forget about it. But it really has to do with welcoming in springtime. So it's seen as the beginning of spring and the final days of winter, really. For me, it's still going to be really cold until probably April, but in terms of looking towards spring, it's kind of the shaking off of the winter blahs, so it's a really great time for spring cleaning, and it's all about like the sense that the earth is about to be fertile, like it's about to be spring, and it's also about the rebirth of oneself. So if you are like me and are slacking on your New Year's resolutions, Imbolc is a great time to like rededicate yourself to that, which I do plan on doing. Ostara is the celebration of the spring equinox, and it is celebrated on March 21st or 22nd, depending on the year. And it is the first time in the year that day and night are perfectly equal with each other. So we have gone from the depth of winter during Yule, where it's the darkest point or the shortest day of the year and like the darkest point of the year, to Imbolc, where spring is coming, and now Ostara is a kind of a celebration that spring is finally here. It's focused on the return of the sun and also putting the actions that you put in place during Imbolc into action. So like the things that you talked about or like worked on with Imbolc, if you're still having to struggling to, I don't know, get that into fruition. If you've started something, it's really the time to like charge it up and start like actually, making those steps. This is also, depending on where you are, a great time to start planting your garden, provided it's warm enough. And Ostara has been celebrated for like hundreds of years as kind of this spring festival, and it was dedicated to the German goddess Ostara, which I believe is how you say it. And it was actually kind of merged with Christian beliefs, I guess, and that's kind of where you get Easter. So it is around this time. Ostara and Easter are not celebrated always at the same time, but it's around the same time. So Ostara is always going to be on the spring equinox, and then I believe Easter can be celebrated a little bit before or after based on a different type of calendar. Do not quote me on that. Beltane is the next holiday, and it is celebrated on May 1st, and it is a pagan festival, really just kind of dedicated to revelry and partying and fun, and also an element of fertility and sex. A lot of pagans tend to get married on Beltane, especially get hand fasted, which is like so cool and like an amazing tradition that we need to bring back. And it is kind of like the peak of spring. So it is also, it's the peak of spring and the beginning of summertime. So things are starting to really turn into summer. So this is a prime time to bring any ideas, thoughts, anything you've been working on previously during the year into true fruition. Many pagans have a bonfire for this one as well. And send wishes up to their gods and goddesses by burning wishes in the flame. And they also may celebrate the holiday by dancing a maypole, which is basically like a big pole in the ground that has ribbons coming off of it, and you dance around in a circle, and it's really fun. You see them at Renaissance fairs all the time for kids, but it is actually really fun. So this is my second favorite holiday besides Samhain. I really like the kind of transitional periods of the year. So fall and also spring are my two favorite seasons. They're on equal levels for me. So the weather's perfect, and I like the symbolism and everything about Beltane is just really fun. Plus you get to drink, so it's just awesome. So Litha is celebrated on June 21st as a festival honoring the summer solstice. So just like we had Yule, we have Yule being the shortest day of the year, we have Litha being the longest day of the year. So the earth is kind of at its peak of fertility, we're really at the height of summer. And traditionally people celebrate this again with a huge bonfire. Us pagans love our bonfires. And drinking and just kind of specifically drinking mead, which is honey-based alcohol. And any magic done during Litha is particularly potent. So if you are really trying to, if you have something in mind that you really, really want to do, this is a great time to do it. It is particularly or primarily a time of like mass celebration and camaraderie. Of course, last year we didn't really have it, but this year I'm like really hoping I can be surrounded by other witches on the summer solstice doing magic, because that would be amazing. So the next holiday is actually another one of like, I don't know, it's like my second runner-up or something, of favorite holidays, is Lughnasa. So this is celebrated on August 1st or 2nd, kind of like Imbolc is. And it is a smaller holiday once again, but it's dedicated to the first harvest of the year. So this is when you start reaping like your grains, usually if you're like a farmer. And to celebrate this holiday, pagans bake bread. And I love bread. My boyfriend and I will literally find a way to eat bread at like any moment possible. Like truly, like I want a tattoo that just says bread till I'm dead. Like straight up love bread. But anyways, the reason we bake bread is to give thanks to the earth for the abundance. So if you're trying to do like a prosperity spell, an abundance spell, a money spell, Lughnasa is a great time for that, provided that you kind of give something back to the earth, in my opinion. It's also kind of a signal to the end of summer. I once heard someone describe August as like the Sunday of summer break, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's a mood. But it is kind of like the beginning of the harvest season, so you're kind of getting closer to Samhain. And then finally, the last holiday is Mabon. And it is the largest harvest festival of the year, because this is kind of when you're really starting to harvest stuff. It's celebrated one day after my birthday, on either September 21st or 22nd, so 1 or 2 days, I guess. And it is celebrated through feasting, yes, and observing the second time that the earth is at perfect equilibrium, so in terms of like day and night. So it is celebrated on the fall equinox, and this is like the time that we harvest the most fruit and grain and everything like that. So it's a great time to go apple picking. Like I said before, this is like the time when we harvest the most. So like grains, fruits, vegetables. This is really when you're like, you know, going to farmers markets and stuff. But it's a great time to bake pies, cakes, breads. So I like to think of this kind of as like witch Thanksgiving, even though that holiday is like completely different and has different connotations. Nothing like that, but in terms of like the feasting aspect. Mabon is very, very fun. Plus it's around my birthday, so it's just like good vibes. So I've only celebrated these holidays as a solitary witch, but as this channel grows, hopefully I'll be able to host some like live events, maybe, I don't know, where we can kind of like talk about it and celebrate together, especially like the feasting ones. It'll be really fun where we can all like make food and eat and talk and just have a grand old time. But anyways, if you have any questions, just leave them down below, and I'll be definitely going into more detail about how to celebrate each of the holidays as we approach each holiday this year, starting with Imbolc. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.